Hi folks, Joko here, and today we're going to be presenting the first of a series of videos looking at each of the 5 types of Task 2 questions. There's lots of resources out there that will help you with your Task 2, and I'm not really presenting anything spectacularly new here, but I do think it would be helpful to look at how to approach the band descriptors for each type of question, because I think it does what you need to focus on. Not just structure, but focus also changes. And to do that, we're going to be using your essays from the Facebook IELTS tips and tricks page. So let's go. For task response, you want to show that you understand all parts of the question and that you discuss both sides, and most importantly, give your own opinion. Okay? Now, present that opinion and maintain it throughout the essay. Yes, you should put it at the beginning. Right? And of course, like always, support your main ideas thoroughly. And coherence. It's important that we outline our essay first so that we know what we're doing. So many people forget that part. Include a clear topic sentence. Connect your paragraphs using appropriate connectors. And use effective referencing. Your pronouns. They need to be clear about who they're talking about, and you need to use referencing. The foundation for success in IELTS is your vocabulary, and lexical resources, a range of different appropriate words used appropriately. Grammar, this is not a complete list of the different grammar structures you should use, but try to use a variety of different sentence structures as well as tenses. Common mistakes. Misunderstanding the question. In this type of question, you've got 2 sides. You have to understand who they are, what they believe, who the other people are, what they believe, and then also understand any little qualifying words in there. And there's lots of opportunities in there for you to make a mistake in what you read. Don't put too many ideas in one paragraph. Really, anything that you are writing, anything that's in the essay that doesn't have a purpose in satisfying the task doesn't fulfill a requirement of the band descriptors, it doesn't do one of those things, doesn't belong. Seeing too many sentences of people trying to put extra stuff in to show off vocabulary that they know, and it takes away from the essay. Everybody overgeneralizes all the time, and their opinions are unsupported, and they draw conclusions that aren't accurate. Okay, I want to talk about some myths, some non-realities, some things you may have heard, even hear from the experts on this board, that your friend Joko doesn't entirely agree with. The first is that you have to choose a side, that you've got 2 sides and you must pick one and agree with that. This is, give your opinion. Your opinion can be something entirely different. And I don't see anything in the band descriptors that says you can't do that. Now, you have to be a pretty good writer to do that. So if you're shooting for an 8 or a 9, consider a more nuanced position, particularly if it's what you believe. By nuanced, I mean balanced or brings in some third element. You always need an example. Well, I'd say that's probably true for an entire essay, but not necessarily with every paragraph. There are other ways to support, and other ways to create examples as well. Hypothetical situations using conditionals. Talking about the consequences if something happens. All right, let's go on and talk about some mistakes in grammar. certain structures get overused. They're your friends. Hey, I know this sentence. I know this kind of sentence. It's always been good to me and done what I want it to. Well, don't use the same structures too much, even if they're good. Run-on sentences are sentences that should have stopped already, not just for coherence, not just so they make sense, but grammatically. Little slips, articles, subject-verb agreement, plurals. Here's a question. First thing, analyze the question. So as you're reading it, it's a good idea to underline the key words. What do I mean by key words? Well, those are the ones that are going to help you understand all parts. Okay? They define and limit the topic, as well as the verbs in the instructions, which will tell us what to write. Okay? So here's our question that we're going to be looking at today. Some people really good. Share as much information as possible. That's a key phrase. Okay, the next part tells us what we're talking about. Standard, some believe this, others believe something different. Not necessarily always the opposite, mind you, but different. And then our instruction. Okay, so when we analyze the question, we should ask ourselves these questions. What's the topic, the main topic? What's the specific topic? Okay. Who are we talking about? Everybody or just some people? And what is each of the sides? Okay, so looking at the instructions, that's our topic, but certain specific information. Not any information, but stuff that people might want to keep hidden. Are we talking about everybody? No, we're just talking about scientists, business people, academics. Okay, and one side is, it's good. I hate that phrase, good. But good in this case means it has advantages. There's something positive about sharing the information. And the other side says that no, some information is too valuable to be shared fully, freely, to be shared a little. Okay, so after you have read the question, it's time to brainstorm. Now, everyone has different ways of doing this, but the old two-column way of doing it is a nice way if you've got two sides. At the top of one, you write protecting, and then just start writing stuff down. It doesn't have to be good ideas. They don't even have to be full sentences. Points for sharing, that's the basis of science. This is what I would do. Protecting, okay, ideas, costs. All right, so you get that done real quick. Now, some of these ideas you can combine together. But this isn't about idea generation. And then maybe note some ideas about what you think. Over here, my ideas. Okay, and then an outline. Obviously, you cannot write all of this outline, while you're preparing. You just need to sort of have it in your head as to what you're going to do. 4 paragraphs or 5? Well, I think it depends on your answer. If you clearly prefer one side over the other, then you can approach it like you would an agree or disagree essay. However, you do need to change your language somewhat for each of the 2 paragraphs. Okay? Standard introduction, paraphrase. I do not think you should include a sentence like, information sharing is becoming more talked about today. No. Okay, give your opinion. Yes. You don't have to explain it. Neither should you be explaining each of the sides. Now, an essay sentence should not say something like, this essay will discuss both sides and give an opinion. No, it should be something, if you're going to use one, what you're going to talk about. Or first we'll talk about why some people think this, and then we will discuss why people disagree. All right? Start with the side that you disagree with, and make sure you use a good connector. Then the side you agree with, and your conclusion. Now, a 5-paragraph essay works as well, and I think it works better if you're talking about something that is more balanced, or your opinion doesn't necessarily fit into either of the two sides. Now, mind you, having a different opinion, like, oh, it depends, or I can see the merits of both sides, or there's a third element involved, that's something you need to make clear from the beginning. Otherwise, they'll think you have no opinion, and then you're not fulfilling the task. All right, you've gone through the process. You have carefully broken down the question and answered the questions of, do you remember? Who are we talking about? What are we talking about? Where? When? What do they think? And you're ready for your discuss both views and give your own opinion. You have a plan. You have an outline ready to go. You're going to address all parts of the question. You've got an idea. One idea for each paragraph, I think, is perfect because you can fully extend it. And you've got examples ready to go that are relevant, meaning that they are about the topic. And so you sit down and you write a tremendous essay. Great. The paragraphs are perfect. Your ideas are interesting, well supported, and contain examples that are right what they should be. You balance the two sides, and your opinion is well thought of and well written. Now, what are you going to do with this essay? Hey, IELTS, can you take this one? No. But you know, what are you going to do with this great essay? You upload it, yay, to someplace like the Facebook IELTS Tips and Tricks group. There is where I found the 3 essays that we are going to use to illustrate some good and some bad elements of what students produce in this type of question. I've read hundreds of essays, and I realized that although each student is individual, and there are definitely some language, grammar, vocabulary, structure problems that are across country and across the world. Also, groups of students or people tend to fall into categories. And I think we have 3 types of students. Maybe you can connect or think, yeah, I'm sort of like that student. Student A. She knows a lot of vocabulary, and she's really good with it, mostly. She's not afraid of a very, very complex sentence. Her collocation is on her speed dial, but she's stuck at a 6.5. Then there's Mr. T, student T. He's done so many practice tests that at night when he dreams, his dreams come in 40-minute lengths, and they're just over 280 words or under 320. And he finds a lot of dreams contain one hand and the other hand, and advantages and disadvantages. Anyway, he's not found an idea that he couldn't use his way of writing to fit. He's never found a big word he didn't want to use, and he's still hovering around a 6. Now, student F, she is new to this study of IELTS, and it's a bit difficult for her. She's already learned how to do certain things. I think people have told her, maybe not English teachers, or at least not native speakers, what to do. And she is on the path to learning all those things that you shouldn't do. And hopefully being exposed to this group will cure her of some of that. It's almost better to be a new learner than it is to be someone like T or A, where you have to learn to change what you've been